Sanjida, just start by telling me, what is Bone by Bone about?
So Bone by Bone is a psychological thriller. It's about the love that mothers have for their daughters. It's about the lengths that you would go as a parent to protect your child. It's about what you would do if you found out that your daughter was being bullied and no one would listen to you or take you seriously. How far would you go to make sure your child is safe?
So tell us about the story.
The story's about Laura, she's my main character. So she's recently divorced and moved from London to Bristol with her 9-year-old daughter, Autumn. So when the story begins, Autumn has started at a new school and Laura discovers that Autumn's being bullied by a boy called Levi. She goes and tells the teachers about it, but no one really takes her seriously or does anything about it. So Laura takes the matter into her own hands, and in the heat of the moment she makes one terrible mistake, something that, you know, maybe any of us might have done in that situation, but that mistake just has devastating consequences for her and her daughter.
And what was your inspiration for Bone by Bone?
I've got a daughter of my own, and when she was born I used to come here to this nature reserve, Narrowways, and walk around with her in the sling, tried to get her to sleep. And I felt really vulnerable and isolated, which I don't normally feel like that, but I think it was because I was responsible for a newborn baby. And so then I started thinking about a character who might be like that all the time, who's vulnerable, isolated, not particularly confident. And what would she do if her daughter got into trouble? How would she make sure her daughter stayed safe?
And just tell us a bit more about where it's set and where we are.
Bone by Bone is set in Bristol, where I live. I like to have descriptions of places that feel vivid and authentic. So there are real places like this nature reserve, Narrowways, where a lot of the scenes take place in the book. But what I've done is I've played around with the geography. So if you knew Bristol really well, you would know that, you know, doesn't quite match up in real life. What I've also done is I've set it in autumn, just before Halloween, which makes it sound really gothic. But it's like the weather is another character as well, so it's really dark and grim and rainy all the time, kind of quite like it is today.